Hey students, it's Mr. Fleece here, and today I'm going to show you how to mix 10 warm colors from your color mixing guide and use them in our fall tree color study project. We're going to select 10 colors that we have mixed, and we're going to then apply those colors to the leaves in our fall tree color study. This project is all about color. We're learning how to mix new hues of color with acrylic paint, and we're learning how to use those new hues to create a very interesting work of art and design. We're going to do 2 color schemes with this project. One is going to be a warm color scheme, which will be the leaves that we just talked about. The second will be a cool color scheme, which we will use to divide the negative space in the background and paint with cool tones. This will create contrast between our leaves and our background, creating very interesting works of art and design. Are you ready? Let's get in it. And we're going to need a few tools to get us started. One of the things we're going to need is kind of medium-sized brush in your art kit and your small brush for the edges of our leaves. We're going to need a water jar so we can clean our brushes between colors. We're going to need our acrylic paint palette. We will need our paints. Depending on if you're taking this in the classroom or virtually, will depend on what your paints look like. And then we'll need a few paper towels to dry our brush after we wash our brushes. And then we will need a color mixing guide that we've created. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my color mixing guide and I'm going to select a warm tone that I really like. I really like how vibrant this yellow, kind of this orange color that yellow and scarlet make. So I'm going to start with this color for one of my first leaves. So I go to my palette and I'm going to mix together. Let's get a little scarlet out, and I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow, and using my brush I'm going to take and grab a little bit of that scarlet, probably just a little corner bit of the scarlet paint, to then stir into my yellow to create that vibrant orange. And now I've got a nice bright orange color. Now you can decide at this point if you want it darker or lighter, doesn't matter. And then when you're ready to go to your fall tree, we are going to pick some leaves to paint the same color because I want to balance my colors throughout. So I'm going to start first by going in and really painting this first leaf. Notice how I'm turning my brush different directions so I can paint a nice outline. Already I can tell that I'm going to have to put a second coat of paint on this leaf, and that is perfectly okay. So I'm going to move on to my next area. I've put one up here, so I might put one over here. If your medium-sized brush is too big to get into the corners, that's where our smaller brush comes in. You can use that to clean up the edges. Sometimes I like to even go in and paint those edges with a small brush first. Then I can come back with my medium-sized brush and paint in. Much easier. So you gotta do whatever's comfortable to you. Now here, where this is, I'm gonna turn my picture. I'm gonna turn my painting so it's easier for me to control where I am painting my paint. I always wanna be able to see where my brush is going. And then I might paint one down here as well. And since acrylic is a fast drying medium, I can, by the time I paint my other leaves, I can come back up here to the top and put a second coat. And it looks like 2 coats looks pretty nice. And now that I've given my leaves 2 coats, it really depends on how transparent your paint is going on. Will determine how many coats you need to put on your... So now I'm ready to mix a new color. Right here, this warm purple tone, I like it. It's kind of a red-violet color, so I'm mixing brilliant red and violet together to make this color. So I'm going to stir this together. I could add just a touch more purple, but I actually really like this color, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to choose some new leaves. Again, I'm going to choose at least a second place on my painting to put this red. That's nice. I've got 2 there. I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rinse my brush. Towel it off really good. Make sure it's as dry as possible. There's a little bit more paint on there I need to rinse off. And I'm ready to mix my next warm tone. So I'm going to use Scarlet and I'm going to use a light green. And I should get kind of a brownish tone. Oh, that's nice. A nice warm brown tone. That's exactly what I was looking for. Yay! So one of the things that you're going to notice as you start putting in your leaves is you're going to notice there's going to be spaces like this. See how there's this negative space around my leaf? I'm actually not going to leave that. Everything in the top part of our trees, so where the bottom, see where my leaves kind of end right here and right here, that is where the background's going to take place, but everything up here is going to continue to be a warm tone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix another warm tone. I want something that's going to contrast this a little bit, a color that's a little bit different and not super close together. So I'm going to start with a little bit of yellow, a little bit of a ochre. Clean my brush. Make sure to stir your brush on the bottom really well to get that paint off, and then towel that brush as dry as you possibly can, right? We want to get it really dry. And sometimes I test it by just painting like that on my thumb, and if no color comes off, I know I'm good. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix together my ochre and my yellow, get kind of a warm, like a mustardy, just a little bit darker yellow, but it's still quite warm. I'm going to use that to paint this negative space around this leaf. And these little detail spots are going to be perfect for using my detail brush. So now I have a nice little yellow background there. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick, 2 to 3 more spaces to use this nice bright yellow. So I might bring a leaf up here. And students, we're going to repeat that process until we have painted all of the leaves and the top part of our tree painting. So what I want you to do as you're working is I want you to mix a warm color from your color guide. Then we're going to paint at least 2 areas. So for instance, with my red here, I painted 1 here and here, and then possibly 3, like my yellow, 1, 2, 3, my orange, 1, 2, 3 areas on my painting. So that way we can balance the colors that we're using, and it allows for us to mix new ones. You can be creative with your color mixing. Try mixing 2 colors that you've made together to see what happens. So the purpose of this project is a color study. We're learning how to mix different hues of color, and we're learning how to arrange those colors to work well in our designs. All right, students, and that is it for this step. I look forward to seeing what you have so far. If you want to take a picture and email it to me just so I can check in and see how you're doing, that would be much appreciated. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to divide your background and start working on your cool color schemes. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.